Hello there and welcome to CNR Extra here on City TV, coming to you live from our studios at number 5 Owula Hansen Lane, Tesano, Accra. My name is Philip Latte. Coming up, National Peace Council to meet political parties and security agencies to address the recent increase in insightful comments by politicians.
Ours is to ensure that these statements and the others that we have heard are not perpetuated.
Legal team of NDC petitions Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service to immediately arrest and prosecute NP for Abetifi and Greek Minister Brian Echampo over comments he made during the Easter period.
A petition calling on the CID boss to arrest, investigate, and prosecute the Minister for Agric.
The Efidiasi District Court in the Ashanti region grants bail to 7 persons who attacked a police officer in Kumewu.
In the event that things do not go on well and that they are found liable, the court would not deal with them leniently.
And later on CNR Extra, City FM Foundation donates 30,000 Ghana cedis to the Baptist School Complex Orphanage, Basco, at Troto near Suhum in the Eastern region as part of its annual Easter Orphan Project.
We can't write the story of Basco without mentioning how vital City FM has been to Basco.
CNR Extra is live on City TV. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments via WhatsApp line 0204447033, and we are streaming live on YouTube on CityTube. Hansen Ajimania, welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great. Let's bring you the very first story, and that has to be in the Ashanti region. The Efidiasi District Court in the Ashanti region has granted bail to 7 persons who attacked a police officer at Kumewu.
In the Ashanti region has granted bail to 7 persons who attacked a police officer at Kumewu. The incident was captured in a viral video in which the civilians were engaged in a scuffle with an armed police officer in uniform. City News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani reports.
The accused persons, Edward Boatin, Evans Ado, Yao Kusi, Michael Owusu, Yao Boatin, and Emmanuel Mensah, appeared before the Efidiasi District Court on Tuesday. One other suspect, Yao Ofori, is at large, while the other suspect, Thomas Kusi, is on admission at the hospital following injuries he sustained during the scuffle. A police statement said the suspects, who were occupants in an overloaded taxi cab, engaged in a scuffle with the police when they were stopped at a checkpoint near Kumewu. Police have charged the suspects with assaulting a public officer, conspiracy to commit a crime, and one other accused person was charged with aiding and abetting. The prosecutors pleaded with the court to remand the accused persons to give the police ample time to complete their investigations. Although the pleas of the accused persons were not taken, police insisted that they might tamper with ongoing investigations if they were granted bail. Counsel for the accused persons, Henry Ohiminkumi, also prayed the court to grant his clients bail since they were not a flight risk and will avail themselves to police when they are needed.
As it stands now, they've been brought before the courts. It's for the state to prove their case, and thereafter, if there is a need for the my clients to put up a defense, they may do so. What the court was informing us all was that in the event, we should be very careful. In the event that things do not go on well and that they are found liable, the court would not deal with them leniently, which I agree. We are all officers. in as much as they are my clients, it is alleged that this is the offense they have committed. I would not advocate that people should go around attacking public officers.
Relatives of the accused persons who thronged the court challenged the facts presented by the police to the court after the proceedings.
Na police ni ndabi enkwala ne bedru hobia na waje wo monam na enkwala no ene wo ma ene na yakasa kasa enti de eto so miensa no yese omunya ba ko pe enti oba ko no mo se wo se won fema wo mo on fema no wo se on fema wo mo no mo de tua driver ne ka wo se won pene no waje ye no kwala ne bre e ma wo bo ba kusum na ono ne ye meba e ma kwala ne ni da moja oba no call report ma police ni ba ko se the police ni no ayenuni ankra na twen say police ni no mbenya kasabi aka besinne akra na hwe no yade a wo mo amua
o to kokuma akrante ba ko ena hwe amiru o medro na police ni na akro no asai o mo mfa emua no mo no so chief yanya bi na mum abo enya ano ane ye akrante ba ko enhwe amiru etiji ahwe ane ba ko no so mpe eto yi also on pen and also over for so be boot can boot or the akrante ni ya no eto e na ju so bue boot na me baba mu an mic no so no me ma de bia wa my man nam sa ya du akweto na mam na chese ho no ama ensem bibribe.
The presiding judge, His Worship Frank Ni Ashite Ado, addressed the court before granting bail to the accused persons and said instances where civilians attacked public officers were disturbing and a threat to national security. He further said he will ensure the accused persons face the law if they are found guilty after investigations. He, however, said despite the actions of the accused persons being condemnable, they have some freedom and liberty to enjoy as stated in the Constitution. He granted each of the 7 accused persons 10,000 Ghana cedis bail with one surety.
The case has been adjourned to 28th April 2023. Hafiz Tijani, City News, Efijase, Ashanti Region.
That's a very interesting case, and what even struck me is its borders on bushmeat. On Sunday, when I saw the story, I was asking myself, why will civilians be attacking police officers? And it's not something that has happened just once, it's happened a couple of times. But reading the story, I noticed that an eyewitness account was the police was demanding a rat carcass from the civilians. And if you watch the video, 2 of the police officers came to the scene. The only thing they were interested in is to pick the rifle and leave the scene. And the police officer who was being attacked by the civilians was calling for help. That's a very interesting case. And the parents of the accused persons also came to speak that this is not the first time the police or the police officers have done this. It's happened a couple of times, and they are not willing to give out what they've toiled for. Besides, they go into the bush, go and do all the activities, so to speak, or try and get the bush meat and come out, and the police officer wants to take it, which they wouldn't allow the police officer do so.
Let's take note that the police statement on this incident it's at variance with the report that we've heard from the eyewitness and from family members. Now, from the police account, we are told that the taxi approached a checkpoint. The police officer decided to do a routine check. The occupants of the vehicle disagreed, and that led to the scuffle. And the 2 police officers who you rightly indicated took the gun, the rifle during the scuffle, have been interdicted and referred to the PIPs for a further investigation. Now, I think that the facts should be clarified more. I mean, no form of attack on a police officer or abuse of a civilian should be countenanced in any form whatsoever it is. And for me, I think that is a step in the right direction, that these persons have been arraigned. They've been granted bail as the judge deems fit. The other thing is that the allegations that have been leveled against this particular officer should be interrogated, and the police should not only be concerned about interrogating why the two other officers did not help their colleague. Of course, perhaps during that investigation or during that interrogation, they may find out what exactly happened. But I'm saying that this particular allegation of this officer extorting bushmeat from these gentlemen should be interrogated. Now, I'm saying this because the community has a certain perception. And you heard mother of one of the accused persons. She's saying that this thing has happened several times where they've gone to the police and the police have not acted. Now, if the issue is not addressed so that the right facts are not put out there, this adds to the numerous perceptions that we have against the Ghana Police Service. I mean, just go through any Afrobarometer report. You get to understand that perceptions about the police when it comes to corruption is not the best. Perception about the police when it comes to trust is not the best. I mean, somewhere in 2015, when it comes to citizens' trust in the police, it was 67%. In 2014, it dropped to 36%. Then went up slightly to 41% in 2017, and then also dropped to 39% in 2019. I mean, aside the research figures, just go out there and do a vox pop and ask people, between the police and the military, who do you trust? Between the police and the military, who do you respect?
Well, the IGP has stated that they are doing everything the service can to ensure that they win the trust of civilians back.
Some of these things are part of the things they need to do. I mean, you cannot only do the things at the headquarters or at the training ground, and the people will go down there and may not go according to things that you've taught them at the training ground. I'm saying that when some of these things happen, we need to clarify and clear things. And if we need to punish people, we have to punish. Just recently, there was a clash between the police and the military at the Accra Regional Police Command. Weeks down the line, what has happened? We don't know what actually happened. The police hierarchy has not spoken. The military hierarchy has not spoken. Nothing has been done to, say, punish any of, because it's outright indiscipline. If it was civilians who were engaged in a scuffle in front of the police station, they would have been
just this incident where a civilian has been taken and also they've been arraigned and they've been granted bail. If it had been these two officers or the military and the police, I don't know how it's going to turn out. Yes.
So if the IGP is indeed serious about transforming the image of the Ghana Police Service, I'm saying that giving a zero tolerance to indiscipline among officers of the Ghana Police Service is key in achieving this sort of trust that people may have in the Ghana Police Service.
We'll still wait to see how this issue unfolds, because the presiding judge on this case, that is His Worship Frank Ni Ashite Ado, who addressed the court before granting bail to the accused persons, made mention of the fact that the accused persons who face the law if they are found guilty after investigation. So certainly investigation into this matter is ongoing. Away from this story, but still in Kumewu, because the NPP has begun processes to elect parliamentary candidate ahead of the by-elections in that constituency.
Now, still in the Ashanti region, the New Patriotic Party has begun processes to elect a parliamentary candidate ahead of the by-elections at Kumewu. Now, Parliament has declared the Kumewu seat vacant following the demise of NPP sitting Member of Parliament Philip Baswa. City News' regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani again reports.
The Electoral Commission is yet to announce a date for a by-election in the Kumewu constituency, but the NDC and the MPP have begun Preparations. The New Patriotic Party opened nominations on Tuesday and is expected to hold its internal elections on April 23, 2023. City News has learned that 9 persons have expressed interest to represent the MPP in the upcoming elections. Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP, Bernard Enchibo-Siakun, confirmed that 5 persons have so far picked up the forms.
Let me name the people who have picked the form so far. It's 5 people who have picked. And Amasewa has picked the form. Mr. Ernest Yao also has picked the form. And Philip Yao Bano also have picked the form. Mr. Edward Osei has picked the form, and Da Costa Abuaji also has picked. So this is the 5 people today they have. So tomorrow we also will open to see if somebody also have the appetite to come and pick the form and contest on behalf of MPP.
He also spoke about some rules regarding the process.
So once you are bringing the nomination, but if you are 18,500, this is what the party have done for this. So actually it's 35,000 for adults, and the youth, women, and disabled will pay 17,500. This is what so far. So
the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, on Friday, March 31, declared the Kumewu parliamentary seat vacant following the passing of the late Philip Baswa on March 28, 2023. The 54-year-old late Kumewu MP died at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital after he was found unconscious in his room on Friday, March 24, and rushed to the hospital for medical attention.
The leadership of the New Patriotic Party says it is hopeful of a smooth process ahead of the by-election here at Kumewu. Hafiz Tijani, City News, Kumewu, Ashanti Region.
So ahead of the by-elections in the Kumewu constituency, 9 persons have shown interest or shown their intent to stand for the parliamentary candidate position, but 5 have picked up the forms, and that is what is coming from Enchibo-Siakun, who is the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP. Chairman Papa. And so what do you make of this?
I mean, 9 people giving their intent, 5 so far on the first day. Today is the second day. We would be there to bring our viewers, the people who actually add up to the 5. But for me, it gives an indication of how fierce the MPP parliamentary primary
itself will be before the external. Yes.
The primaries will be, and already I'm seeing some DCEs, some CEOs, and I mean some party communicators who have been lacing their boot towards going into some of their constituencies. And so I mean the timelines for the election itself puts the parliamentary primaries itself later this year, beginning later this year, and the election itself possibly next year. But I think that for Kumewu itself, we've already underscored the essence of the by-election and how it will be important for both the NPP and the NDC going to the by-election. But we wish them the best, and we'll be there to cover. The timetable, as we know that the nominations have opened in Kumewu, and by April 23, the voting itself will be done.
Exactly. So this is a very important one. That looking at the by-elections that will happen in that area, and it has to also border on peace. Talking about peace, the National Peace Council says that in the coming days, it will meet political parties and security agencies to speak on the insightful comments from some political figures during this season. Let's bring you that insert.
The National Peace Council says it will in the coming days meet various political parties and security agencies to address the recent increase in insightful comments by politicians. The comment by the council comes in the wake of ongoing discussions on pronouncements deemed insightful made by Abetifi Member of Parliament Brian Champon. There is more in the following report by City News' Daniel Sakiti and read to you by Charles Owusukumi.
In recent times, members of both the governing New Patriotic Party and the opposition National Democratic Congress have been accused of making comments which threaten the peace and stability of the country as the 2024 general elections fast approaches. NDC Swami youth organizer Razak Avolia was in the news for urging party members to unleash mayhem on NPP members during the 2024 elections, while the NDC is also calling for the arrest of Abetifi Member of Parliament Brian Champon, who said the NPP will do whatever it takes to cling onto power. Having had past engagements with political actors and consequently launching guidelines on hate speech and other forms of indecent expressions, the Peace Council says the recent development is worrying and must be addressed. Chairman for the Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Adujemfi, says the Council will meet political parties and security agencies to deal with such insightful comments. He also called on politicians to be circumspect in their utterances ahead of the 2024 general elections.
We want to use the opportunity we have now to appeal to the political leaders and the actors to consider carefully some of the discussions we've had, and also to look at how to guide themselves in terms of what they say and how they say it. And sometimes your intentions might be clear, but if your choice of words are not put together properly, it creates problems. And so that has been the challenge that we have. Our intention is to call the parties back to the table again, to review the things we discussed, and also to look at the challenges that we do have now, and to see what we can do going forward. I think for now, this is the way to go. We are also scheduled a meeting with the security agencies, which will be coming on next month. It's already on our program, to look at some of the things that we have to address between now and the next election. And these will be continuous meetings between now and the elections to ensure that we bring sanity into the political space.
Reverend Dr. Ernest Adujemfi said the Peace Council remains focused to ensure that some of the insightful comments are not carried out.
If the police think that whatever he said require that they bring him to book, it's their responsibility. But ours is to ensure that these statements and the others that we have heard are not perpetuated. So how do we ensure that these things are curtailed? And our meeting with the party chairman, the party general secretaries, is a means by which we appeal to them, and also now going to emphasize that the meetings are not going to be between us and them alone, but they should be able to pass on some of the decisions we make to their members to ensure that not only the leaders abide by those things, but the members also abide by these. That's why we've said that there will be continuous engagement with the parties. You know, like you said, we've heard all those things, and they are all, most of them are on tape. And this one says that, the other one says this, the other one says this. We can't continue like that. You know, the citizenry are affected by some of these things. Some of the young people just are carried away by statements that leaders have made. And so we have to make sure we draw their attention to these facts, that be careful with what you say, and make sure that you don't instigate the youth against the country.
So this is very important that the Peace Council is coming in at this crucial moment. One may ask that what has the council been doing about these insightful comments that are coming from political actors? And the core function of the council actually is to prevent, manage and resolve conflict and to build sustainable peace, which is very important that and it's needed in this country because, like I always say, we have only one Ghana.
I mean, it's good to hear a voice like the National Peace Council in matters like this. I mean, in a system where we engage in extreme partisan politics, sometimes you need people who are perceived or known to be independent of the two main political parties or any of the main political parties. And going into 2024, we do not only want to hear the National Peace Council speak when some of these comments have been made already, but also we want to get them act proactively to make sure that their core mandate of preventing conflicts and maintaining peace is ensured, and they make sure that the 2024 election will add to Ghana's credential of holding peaceful and credible elections.
So the meeting between the Peace Council, the political parties, and security agencies is a step in the right direction, and we're looking forward to that particular meeting. You're still watching CNR Extra here on City TV. Still to come. Legal team of NDC petitions Criminal Investigation Department to immediately arrest and prosecute NP for Abetifi and Agric Minister Brian Champon over comments he made during the Easter period. Stay with us. We'll be back with more stories.
Really need to think of a way to make some money. You could start a church. Yeah. Something. Or say it's evangelistic ministry.
Consider me because me, who consider you? People like us here will make a bed scream. What is it?
I'm traumatized. There are men and there are men.
What song is that?
Oh, gospel. Like all men are men. Jesus is the man.
It's only 20 minutes past 10.
You know what can happen in 20 minutes? A bird can be prepared in 20 minutes. Children can be conceived in 20 minutes.
Guys, I hear that. I said you. Baby.
Welcome back. This is CNR Extra on City TV. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comment via our WhatsApp line 0204447033. We are streaming live on YouTube, and you can join us there on CityTube. Let's bring you more stories, and let's start with former President John Dramani Mahama, and he says that the NDC is unfazed by the comment of Brian Champon.
President and presidential aspirant of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, says the NDC is unfazed by the NPP and Brian Champon's outburst of not handing over power to the NDC. Now, according to Mr. Mahama, regardless of the stance taken by the NPP, the NDC will not underplay the role of God in the next elections. Former president made this statement in the Eastern region, where he is on a 3-day tour of the region. City News' Neil Ni Amate Kanaku joined the tour and has more in this report.
Former President John Dramani Mahama on Tuesday began a 3-day tour of the Eastern region, where he is expected to visit 31 out of the 33 constituencies to sell his vision to the branch and constituency executives ahead of next month's internal elections of the party. His first stop was at Akropon, where he interacted with branch and constituency executives from Okre, Akuapem North and Akuapem South. The former president, addressing them, indicated that God has already decided the outcome of the 2024 elections. The next stop was at Yellow Krobo constituency, where he indicated that the decision to file his nomination to lead the National Democratic Congress into the 2024 elections is because he stands out as the best candidate among his competitors to beat whoever the NPP will represent in 2024. On the state of the economy, John Dramani Mahama says the reckless and excessive borrowing by the New Patriotic Party has jeopardized the future of the country for the next 10 years.
John Mahama is currently meeting branch and constituency executives here in the Upper Manya Krobo municipality of the Eastern region, where he's selling his ideas to them ahead of the party's next month's internal elections. Now, his next stop will be in Kuforidia, where he's expected to address delegates and executives of both New Japan North and South to end day one of his 3-day tour of the region. For City News, Neoni Amatekanavu, Asesewa.
So the former president is currently touring some constituencies. Well, a 3-day tour in the Eastern region ahead of the May 13 primaries of the NDC. He's currently at Fantiakwa North, where he's having an engagement with delegates. But very important of what he's been saying there is the party not perturbed about what Brian Champon or the NPP is saying concerning not handing over power in 2025.
We've highlighted the impact of comments by the big wigs when it comes to politics on the young people and how they act. And I think that the former president in this matter, in my view and opinion, his response, I think, is appropriate. Yeah. He didn't go in the manner of saying that we also have the men and we can do it. I mean, even though the MPP is claiming that the reason for Brian Champon making that statement is because of comments made by the former president and some members of the NDC. I mean, if the former president himself has come to understand that the elections is one that God will call for them, and God has already called for them, and will not advise his followers to go in the way of violence, I think that it's a good one. And then more engagements on this will get all the parties to come on board and know that violence is never the key.
Exactly. And on the back of the statement of Brian Champon, the legal team of the NDC has petitioned the CID to arrest Brian Champon.
Meanwhile, the legal team of the NDC has petitioned the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, to immediately arrest and prosecute the Member of Parliament for Abetifi and Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brian Champon. The petition follows some comments made by the minister during the Easter period at Mpraiso in the Eastern region. Now, City News' Philip Ni-Late was with the team and has more in the following report. Now, Philip, what more can you tell us?
Pressure is mounting on the Ghana Police Service to act on the statement by the Minister for Food and Agriculture and also MP for Abetifi, Brian Champon. Brian Champon said that the ruling NPP will not hand over power to the National Democratic Congress. Stakeholders in the political space have condemned the statement of Brian Champon. The legal team of the National Democratic Congress has petitioned the Ghana Police Service on this matter.
We're at the CID quarters to present to the CID boss a petition calling on the CID boss to arrest, investigate, and prosecute the Minister for Agric, Brian Champon, for the unsavory comments that he made during the Easter break. You are aware that he's on viral video to have said that they, the MPP, will not hand over power to the NDC, come what may. And as lawyers, we are of the view that this comment or his comments on that day border on one, national security, and two, an affront to the Constitution. And as lawyers, we think that the police administration must be interested in this matter, because as stakeholders in this democratic dispensation, we will not sit by for just one person to pass comments that will bring unrest in this country.
Sure that all parties are comfortable with the decision they take, but I believe that the police would investigate it and take independent position on the matter and decide if any of the individual comments merit, one, an invitation to the police, two, an arrest, and three, even prosecution in the first place. And so they have petitioned, will have to leave the police to do their job.
Exactly. So the police will do its job, and hopefully we'll be monitoring what the police will do on this matter. Let's bring you another story that has still to do with the NDC and the number of youth that have expressed their interest in entering into Ghana's parliament. We have a report on that. Let's bring you that instead.
In recent times, a number of youth have expressed interest in entering into Ghana's parliament. Many have questioned their motive, while others hold the view that it is time to give them a chance to be part of decision-making. Even though the country's largest population is youthful, they are often underrepresented because of inexperience. In a two-part report, Fred Duho engages some known persons on their parliamentary ambitions.
Politics, like many other careers, has seen growing interest by the youth in Ghana. But there is growing concern about the intention behind the interest of the youth to go into politics. This is what I seek to probe in this two-part report. In the first part, I turn my attention to the opposition National Democratic Congress as they gear up towards parliamentary primaries. First, I visited the Okaikwe Central constituency, where popular entertainment entrepreneur Baba Sadiq seeks to represent the people in Ghana's parliament.
Well, Baba Sadiq was born in Fadama here. I was also raised here. I attended a school in Abeka called Haru School. Right from Haru, I went to the Ghana National College in Cape Coast. From Ghana National College, I started working in the industry, media industry, directly before going back to initially do my diploma in communications and then did a degree in communications, and worked variously in the media industry, worked with multimedia.
According to him, he grew up in the community and has grown to appreciate the challenges facing his society. He shared with me some of his priorities for the constituency when he gets the nod.
Environmental policies are very big for me. Also knowing how positively, as signees, as a country that has ratified the Paris Accord, for instance, I see how keeping and ensuring that environmental laws and policies are adhered to in the country. Policies and laws and initiatives that enables it will be part of the things that I would always wish for.
Our conversation also dwelled on how expensive it has become in recent times for anyone to seek a political office.
Well, I've got a considerable amount. I think that's a young man. I've distinguished myself well as an entrepreneur and so obviously I would have my own resources. Beyond that, there are few individuals that also believe in the dream and believe in Okaikwe Central and believe particularly in the NDC in Okaikwe Central, and so I'm getting some bit of extra help from family, friends, but I've got my own resources. What's most important is that you will know that about 80 to 90% of the resources will come from you.
But how is he hoping to snatch a safe seat occupied by the New Patriotic Party for more than 20 years?
I'm putting in as much as seriousness and as much effort I'm putting in the primaries, almost in the same ways that I put in the main elections. I